A few years ago, I made a video discussing and ranking every single Adult Swim April Fool's prank from 2004 all the way up to 2022. Since then, we've had 3 more years of pranks, so I figured what better time to discuss April Fool's pranks than September. Actually, it's late October when I'm posting this. So, ooh, spooky! And not only that, but I've also got some updates to some pranks that were considered lost media at the time, including one finding that was so rare and completely out of nowhere that it was the catalyst for this entire video to be made in the first place. But you're gonna have to wait and earn that reveal, because first, we're gonna discuss the last 3 years of pranks. I mean, what are you gonna do? Skip ahead in the video? Wait, no, don't click on the time code. No, don't do it. No, 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 no! 2023's prank was a bit of a hodgepodge, as there wasn't really a central theme behind it. I guess the best you could come up with is calling it the remote control prank, although that doesn't really cover the entirety of the night. Anyway, the night starts out with a clip from the Smiling Friends episode, The Frowning Friends, enhanced by the newly run Adult Swim AI, which is now running the network. The result is as Lovecraftian as you imagine. They quickly drop this and shift to Adult Swim Fast Forward, where they showcase several minutes of the Royal Crackers series premiere, the Eric Andre Show Season 6 premiere, and the Teenage Euthanasia Season 2 premiere, each one ending around the commercial break and fast forwarding to the next. This then shifts to Adult Swim Rewind, where they then showcase the Space Ghost Coast to Coast episode Fire Ant. And I'm not talking about the 11-minute version, no. I'm referring to the full 22-minute version that rarely ever aired on TV. Following right after this, we get another change to Adult Swim Minus, promising us all the ads and none of the shows, followed by the infomercials for unedited footage of a bear and Vroom Shakalaka. The night ends off with an apology and one final rebrand to Adult Swim. We're then shown a new ambient swim, Vintertog, which is 20-ish minutes of a train ride through snowy Norway. So yeah, you can kinda see what I mean when I say this one had no central theme, because 2023's prank was a bit of a mess. It was cool to once again see sneak peeks for upcoming episodes, although I feel the point was kinda moot for Royal Crackers, since they literally uploaded the full series premiere over a week prior on their YouTube channel. The AI thing was a fun jab, though it didn't last as long as I hoped it would. Adult Swim Rewind was fun. I always love seeing Space Ghost included in the pranks.
Face it, Space Ghost! No! You're a spaceman that choked on a muffin!
That, sir, is impossible because I am allergic to muffins!
And I'm glad that for both Fast Forward and Rewind, they also kept the gimmick going for their bumps as well. That was a fun attention to detail. Adult Swim was a so I can't really hate that. And I think Adult Swim Minus was probably the highlight for me, was definitely the funniest portion of the prank. Best part was the fake Royal Crackers ads that used the same footage over and over again. Not only because they sort of told a story, but also because I'm like 90% sure the voiceover guy on this is the same guy who did all those Disney promos from the 2000s and 2010s.
Some of you tagged us to ask if this girl from our previous ad was in reference to our recall a while back. No, her sickness is completely unrelated to our crackers. Royal Crackers, America's favorite non-toxic crackers since 2017.
Next, hang out with Phineas and Ferb, where every day is the best day ever. Catch Disney Channel's original series, Phineas and Ferb, on Disney Channel.
Look, this girl's surgery is purely cosmetic. She doesn't have persistent diarrhea, okay?
Still, it's really hard for me to rank this one super high, given that it's such a mishmash of ideas that don't really flow all that well together. I always enjoy sneak peeks, but they didn't really commit to that, and it felt a bit half-assed. Feels like it could have been a bit more well thought out. Still better than nothing. Going into 2024's prank, people were highly expecting it to be based around Smiling Friends, and rightfully so, given the second season was set to premiere later that year. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we got, albeit I don't think anyone could have possibly seen what they pulled off coming. For April Fools, they aired 3 episodes back to back, Mr. Frog, Shrimp's Odyssey, and Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back. Except the twist to these episodes is that they were all recreated using puppets. As a big fan of puppets in general, I was already sold, but they went the extra mile in making sure that every single episode was a different form of puppetry. Mr. Frog utilized classic Muppet-style felt puppets, Shrimp's Odyssey utilized sock puppets, and Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back utilized papier-mâché puppets. All three of these are great and have their own charm, and I like how the further you get into the marathon, the more shoddy the actual puppetry looks. Like, the Mr. Frog puppets look genuinely outstanding. Then with Shrimp's Odyssey, you got some pretty high quality puppets as far as sock puppetry goes. To whatever the fuck was going on with the papier-mâché puppets, my god!
No, I don't like this, David. No, that's enough.
Personally, I think my favorite of the trio is definitely the sock puppet episode. No shade to the other two, those look like they took genuine blood, sweat, and tears to produce, but there's just something about the way the backgrounds in this one look especially crude, and the utilization of live action, and the genuine look of terror on my face upon seeing this version of the boss that all culminates in a perfect 11 minutes. I was actually very curious about the effort in order to pull this prank off, and luckily, the teams behind this stunt posted tons of behind-the-scenes materials and videos to showcase their effort. I actually found out something pretty interesting from researching this endeavor. It looks like the Muppets and Sock Puppet episodes were created and produced by Rocket Slide Films, who have worked with Adult Swim before, specifically on the music production side. And it's not the last time you're gonna hear that name brought up. However, the papier-mâché episode was seemingly produced in-house by, according to the episode credits, the Adult Swim Center for Puppetry Farts, which adds up with it seeming like the most amateur of the three episodes. Though I do wonder if that group had any hand in the other two episodes, or if that was solely on Rocket Slide. But then, just when we thought it was all over, they hit us with one more surprise, the premiere of Smiling Friends Season 2, with the critically acclaimed Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition with DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut ahead of its May premiere date. This was a great way to cap off the night, as it not only gave fans of the show a fun and unique new take on these episodes, but also paid off their patience by premiering an episode of the new season. My one issue is that the night was kinda short, just short of an hour, around the same length of Adult Swim Jr. But honestly, given the amount of effort that went into this, as well as the payoff of new episode premieres, I can't be too angry. Speaking of that new episode premiere, I think it's totally fair for fans to expect that to be shown, given the long gap between the two seasons, and how close the next season was to premiering, only a month later. I mean, can you imagine if they tried that stunt without premiering a new episode? I think it's fair to say that the hype for Rick and Morty has pretty much died down at this point, at least compared to the time frame of seasons 3 and 4. So, if a prank is going to revolve around Rick and Morty anymore, it needs at least two things: a full-on episode sneak peek, and a fuck ton of effort. And in regards to this year's prank, Portal People definitely delivered on the latter. Our good friends at Rocket Slide Films are back, giving us live stage play adaptations of several scenes from the show. Some of them are basically just recreations of the scenes as a whole, but others put a bit more of a spin on it, like adapting the Meeseeks climax using mimes, or turning the Blood Dome scene into a musical number, or, my personal favorite, adapting the Cousin Steve scene from Total Recall as a Western drama. It wouldn't be a Rick and Morty April Fool's event if they didn't include this episode somewhere. Now, I know I went on a bit of a tangent about how much I appreciate the amount of effort that went into making something like the Smiling Friends puppet episodes, and I am by no means saying that this took no effort. Far from it, this must have taken an insane amount of coordination and rehearsal and practice. I can't even begin to imagine what went into this. However, I have more issues with this one than I do with the puppets, and these are not easier to ignore. Like last year's stunt, this one is a short one, although it's arguably the shortest one we've had in a really long time, not even clocking in at half an hour. And I know that so much must have gone into making this a reality, but at the same time, it's a little pathetic that they could only get 25 minutes out of this. The bigger issue I have, something that is still kind of shocking to think about to this day, is this issue could have easily been solved if they just showed us a full episode from the upcoming 8th season. All the indicators were there, especially given last year's prank. The next season was only a month away, and it had been quite a gap between the two seasons. And if you count the anime as a season between these two, then I feel really, really bad for you. I'm so sorry. But for whatever reason that I genuinely have no idea about, they decided to showcase less than a minute of an episode from the upcoming season.
Where is the rabbit?
Oh, a cross gun. That's dumb.
Nobody needs to get hurt.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
That's it? That's the episode?
Why? Like, I genuinely have no idea why this decision was made. Even if it isn't as popular as it once was, it's clear that Rick and Morty is still the network's cash cow. So to give us something less than even the remote control stunt gave us in terms of sneak peeks, let alone for their staple show, is such a ridiculously stupid move. I genuinely appreciate the effort that went into the actual prank, but the ending unfortunately dragged it down quite a bit. I'll give Adult Swim this. They've been a lot better at preserving their stunts, as starting a few years back, they've been simulcasting their pranks on their YouTube channel at the same time as the network, and they've all remained on the channel to this day, giving everyone ample time to make sure that these don't get lost to the annals of time. And speaking of, it's time for the portion of the video I think that everyone has been waiting for. So if you remember from the original video, I said that one of the pranks in 2007 was a reverse marathon of Perfect Hair Forever, with the catch that the episodes were all digitally downgraded, had a VHS filter, and most importantly, were subtitled with various degrees of accuracy. And by that, I mean at one point in an episode, they just gave up on subtitling and just had subtitles from an Aqua Teen episode to go alongside it. Now, something I had failed to mention is that the marathon lasted from 12:15 a.m. to 5:30 a.m., repeating about 3.5 times. What I had no idea about when making that first video, and why I'm even bringing this up in the first place, is because there were rumors speculating that the episodes that were rerun during the marathon not only had different glitches each time, but also different subtitles. Well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't look into this. So, after tracking down a TV rip of that night thanks to the Swimpedia team, I spent a stupid amount of time splicing and overlaying each airing of the episode and going through frame by frame to confirm whether or not the differences are real or not. The things I do for content. And after careful examination of the footage, here's what I've come up with. In regards to the subtitles, I can 100% confirm that the subtitles are exactly the same in each airing of the episodes that night. There are no differences between subtitles in any of those airings. And as for the glitches, well, this one's a bit more shaky. See, the TV rip I was given, while cleaned up immensely, still had its own issues, and it was impossible to tell if a glitch during the rip was actually what was shown on TV, or was just due to the quality of the video. The closer the rip got to the 5 a.m. airings, the more glitchy and distorted it got. However, given the fact that the glitches went into the non-Adult Swim commercials, and that they actually caused my video editor to crash several times when reviewing them, I am 95% sure that the glitches are the exact same in each airing as well, and any differences are due to the quality of the TV rip. If anyone who's actually watched that night remembers any differences and wants to correct me, by all means, please let me know in the comments. But as of now, I think we can call this case closed. And while this part may not actually be uncovering any new lost media, it is basically official confirmation that something doesn't exist. Which, I mean, is basically the next best thing, right? Please don't dislike. Now for 2008, the prank I originally mentioned was a night of surprise premieres and pilots. And the gimmick this time around was that each one was introduced with a bump by TCM's late great Robert Osborne, who would introduce these shows in the same style as he would introduce a TCM premiere.
a special miniature Oscar to honor Judy for her exceptional work as a child star. Perhaps a similar award might be presented someday to the three young actresses joining me right now.
Actually, we're really just playing ourselves.
Of course.
I'd also mentioned that the only bump found at the time the video came out was the one for Super Jail, with the others seemingly being lost to time. So here's the thing. Literally 2 days after I uploaded that original video, I got a comment from someone saying that the TCM intros were actually preloaded onto the Adult Swim Zune back in 2007, and that the contents of that specific Zune were available on a random Reddit post that was just sitting there for 4 years at the time that video released. Needless to say, I was flabbergasted. My first thought was that I didn't even know an Adult Swim Zune existed in the first place. And my second thought was, wait, what the fuck is a Zune?
Nowadays. It's got 300 songs on it.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm old.
Hey Bill, would you help me program my Zune?
So I jumped over to that Reddit post, followed the link, and what I found was crazy. Turns out that back in April of 2007 at a Turner event, they handed out around 500 of these Adult Swim branded Zunes to the attendees, which came preloaded with music, pictures, special features, and most importantly, episodes of their TV lineup. How this knowledge had slipped by me, and presumably so many other people, I have no idea. Anyways, I downloaded all the content from that site in the Reddit post, looked through the videos, saw the one for Super Jail, and lo and behold, who was there to greet me other than Robert Osborne himself? Not only that, it was the exact same bump that had been found from the 2008 prank, which confirms what the YouTube comments said. My mind was blown open. I could not believe what I had found thanks to this. I quickly sent this to my friend who runs Swimpedia, and he had basically the same exact reaction that I did.
Dear God, how?
Through sheer dumb luck, while searching for one form of lost media, we had uncovered a completely unrelated lost media, one we didn't even know existed in the first place. Scouring through the files, the episodes included were Lucy, the daughter of the Devil's Pilot, Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Jobs Abstinence, Saul of the Mole Man's Mustache Ride, Fat Guy Stuck in Internet's Threshold, and Super Jail's Bunny Hunt, all of which hadn't aired yet at the time the Zunes were released, save for Lucy's pilot. And there was also a compilation of older shows like Aqua Teen and Moral Oral. And for all these videos, each one was introduced by Robert Osborne in that same TCM style bump from the 2008 prank. In addition, there was a standalone intro video from Robert Osborne introducing the users to the Adult Swim Zune.
Now these days, every smart advertiser is after a piece of the Swim. In fact, Adult Swim even managed to pimp out their own upfront to Microsoft, the makers of the Zune device that you're holding right in your hand. That Zune rhymes with Dune. Starring Sting. Rhymes with bling. Zune.
Needless to say, we had hit the mother lode, and luckily, a day later, the very commenter who told me about this then proceeded to upload all the Robert Osborne intros into one YouTube video in order to preserve it. So thank you, Ruby Nemesis, for helping uncover something a lot of people didn't even know existed, myself included. And yet, despite all these findings, something was still bothering me. We now had the TCM bumps for Super Jail and Fat Guy, but where did Tim and Eric, Lucy, and Saul fit into this equation? None of those shows aired on April Fools in 2008. Come to think of it, the episodes that were included in the Zune for Super Jail and Fat Guy weren't even the same episodes that aired that night. And to top it all off, now that we found those, where were the TCM bumps for the other premieres that night, like Delocated and Robot Chicken? This was bothering me. It didn't make any sense that the Zune files would only have some of the TCM bumps and included others that seemingly shouldn't even exist in the first place. And that's when me and my friend had a thought that hadn't even crossed our minds until that very night 2 years ago. who's to say that the TCM bumps even were the prank that night? See, despite having the full schedule of what actually aired that night, we could not find a single soul who had actually watched it from start to finish, and we couldn't find any TV recordings of that night either. All this time, we had just assumed that those were part of the prank due to the fact that a rough cut of a Super Gel episode had aired that night, and the Super Gel TCM bump was the only thing that we could find. But Lady Assumption's curse had taken its toll once again. So now we find ourselves at a crossroads in regards to 2008's prank. On the one hand, we had unearthed something completely different that was an admittedly very cool find. But on the other hand, we were now even more in the dark as to what exactly aired on April Fools in 2008. We knew the shows and the episodes, but without a Robert Osborne-shaped anchor to keep the ship from capsizing, we're now floating in even deeper water than we were before. The lost media giveth, and the lost media taketh. But you know what? It worked once before, so why not try it again? Let me know down below in the comments if you have any info on the 2008 April Fool's Day prank. So, what is that now? Debunking 2 forms of lost media? I mean, is there anything new to share at all? Well... The 2004 stunt, Adult Swim's first year of doing April Fool's pranks, was mustaches on all episodes that aired that night. And while most of it isn't generally available to the public, a lot of the episodes that aired that night have been preserved. The only things that were truly lost media, save for a few screenshots here and there, were a majority of the bumps, as well as the airings for the Big O and Inuyasha. And it seemed, at the time, that given how long ago it was, we never truly dig up anything else about that night. On August 8th, I received a comment on that original April Fool's Day video, and, well, I'll let it speak for itself.
I have the full Inuyasha mustache episode on VHS. It's no longer lost. It also has some bumps in the first few minutes of Big O. How can I go about sharing this? Yeah, it's nuts. I was cleaning out my closet last night and found an unmarked VHS tape. Popped it into my old Panasonic's built-in VHS player out of curiosity, and found it to be a ton of Adult Swim footage from seemingly late March of '04. I'm positive my older sister is actually the one who recorded it, because she was obsessed with Adult Swim and Inuyasha when we were younger. That, and I was 4 going on 5 at the time. Lamau. It was mostly Futurama and Family Guy episodes with bumps, but the very end of the tape does have the entire Inuyasha episode, mustaches and all, as well as the first few minutes of the Big O that aired right after. But then the tape ends abruptly.
Do you like the meatloaf, dear?
I'm pretending it's demon food since I'm half demon.
Needless to say, I was once again flabbergasted. This commenter, Olimar Funk, who just posted this one comment on this video from over 2 years ago, might have just uncovered one of the biggest pieces of lost media in this entire search. And when I told my friend from Swimpedia about it...
Excuse me. Need please.
So yeah, we had to strike the iron while it was hot. I immediately got this guy's Discord info, and long story short, created a group chat between me, Olimar, my aforementioned friend Kevin, and another member of the Swimpedia server, Slush. We had figured that the best way to do this was to ship the VHS to Slush, who would then digitize and clean up the VHS recording for a cleaner digital version that could be preserved online, since he had a history of doing so in the past, and then send it back to Olimar once that was done. First of all, I have to give huge thanks not only to Olimar Funk, who was super supportive and helpful through this entire endeavor. Like, he had no problem shipping the tapes to be digitized as long as he got them back. Not only to Kevin and Slush and the Swimpedia team for once again making this operation run so much smoother, but I really gotta shout out Olimar Funk's sister, because without her, who knows how much longer before we'd find a copy, if we'd ever find one at all. The question still remains though, is this truly the Inuyasha airing from March 31st, 2004 on this tape? And if so, Can it be properly digitized and preserved? Well, before we answer that question, I thought I'd take another quick detour, because those are always fun. Now, I see what you're doing. Do not skip ahead. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. See, if Olimar Funk hadn't checked his closet that day and stumbled upon this tape, then there's no way this whole endeavor could have even happened. So for those of you with VHS recordings, if you're interested in lost media related to TV airings, I definitely recommend checking your stockpile, because the next piece of uncovered lost media could just be one viewer away. But what if you're not comfortable with sending the tape to someone who knows what they're doing? And what if you don't want to go through the process of a professional VHS digitizer in order to save the tapes? Well, I decided to have a chat with Slush, the one digitizing the VHS as we speak, and see what he had to say about how you can handle the process on your own. He was actually very informative on the matter.
Look, there are many ways to capture a tape, alright? But some ways are more ideal than others. Some smurfs will tell you that you should not use an operating system other than Windows XP and only use a $600 VCR that requires regular maintenance. Others simply pick up the first capture card they see on Amazon and use OBS and call it a day, or even just burn it to a DVD-R. The methodology I recommend is one that doesn't break the bank and also provides a solid pathway to upgrade over time.
But that's enough beating around the bush. Let's get to the moment of truth. Does this tape have the Inuyasha mustache prank? And can it be digitized and preserved online? The answer is yes. Slush has confirmed the tape does have the 2004 mustache airing of Inuyasha, and if everything goes according to plan, the link to said recording will be in the description when this video goes live, or at least shortly after. From what I've seen, this year has been insane for uncovering lost media that was either previously thought to be lost to the sands of time, or we didn't even know existed. And like with this and the 2008 prank, where some commenter just happens to stumble across my video and comment, "Hey, I actually have some information about this." So many times it just happens to be easily available, or even available to the public without anyone knowing. And what really gets me, what really shocks me about all of this, is that you hear these stories of people hoarding the lost media for themselves, protecting it like it's the Maltese Falcon, their one claim to fame, over an episode of a children's TV show. And on the flip side, we have this commenter, who has been extremely generous and willing in his participation, allowing us to preserve this, even shipping the tape to someone who's basically a complete stranger. It shows how just a little compassion can go a long way. And thanks again to Olimar Funk and his sister, as well as Kevin, Slush, and the whole Swimpedia team for helping out with this endeavor, because without all these people, none of this would be possible. And thank you for watching. Let me know if you're interested in any more videos related to Adult Swim lost media. Speaking of, just because these pieces of lost media were found, doesn't mean we're done with our search just yet. We're still looking for the Big O mustache airing, as well as basically all the bumps from that night. And now that we've uncovered what we have about the 2008 prank, I guess we're gonna have to start from square one on that too. Not to mention a few other years, like the 2009 and 2010 airings of The Room. So if you have any information about any of these, feel free to leave a comment below. Or if what Slush said sounds interesting to you, you can also give it a try on your own. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I don't have a snappy ending for this video. It was supposed to be a short one. How is this over 30 minutes long? What the fuck?
Dad, I want to watch Gossip Girl.
Inuyasha's on.
I know it's on. You've been watching the DVDs for 8 hours.
Honey, did you go to work today?
Yep.
No, you didn't.
I meant my life's work.
With the critically acclaimed, oh my god, how am I gonna say this? Okay, with the critically acclaimed Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Edition, with the critically acclaimed Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition with DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut. Wow, that only took 2 tries, oh my god. I quickly sent it to my friend who ran the Swimpedia. What the fuck am I talking about? I quickly sent this to my friend who ran Swimpedia. When I say ran, like it's not still going. It's still going. Oh god. Okay. This commenter, Olimar Funk, really cool username by the way. I actually really like that. This video, fuck. This commenter. What? Okay, hold on.
I have the full Inuyasha mustache episode on VHS. It's no longer lost. I think I said Inuyasha right, but I'm gonna do it again. I have the full I think I said Inuyasha. Whatever. Dan, if you want me to add a little bit of BHultra flavor into this, just please put the Robot Chicken Inuyasha bit either when I'm talking about it or after.